In this video, which I suspect will be quite long, so you'll have to bear with me, I'm going to break my recording down over a couple of days, although you will see this in one video. I was just going to do a plain packing video, but then I thought, well, when I did my clothes, I went through what I used and a couple of things that I changed, which wasn't an awful lot clothing wise. But I did change quite a little bit regarding packs, sleeping bags, shelters and mats. And that's the things that I thought I would go through today, now, and then I'll take away the stuff that I didn't use on this last trip, and then probably another time I'll actually do the packing side of it. Now, I'll start with the sleeping bags because these actually take up quite a lot of room, and I think I wasn't going to do this with the sleeping bags. I was just going to show you the one that I used last time, but I think this is actually quite important, and I learned something very important, and I think it will be of value to people. Now, and again, I'll just go through the usual ritual. Everything that you see here I've bought. There is one exception, and I'll explain that later on. But other than that one exception, everything that I've got here I've bought is my own. You know, I'm not trying to flog anything or anything like that. So that's that rubbish out of the way. Now, I have two PhD sleeping bags here. This is what they're both design your own bags. Went through all the information on designing my bag. And the first one that I designed was this -15 bag, which has 500 grams of down in it and a full-length zip. And I must admit, I thought -15 would be, you know, quite warm, 500 grams of down. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't cold in it, but if you remember in one of those videos, I did get a little bit of cool down here along my legs, and that unfortunately is due to this full-length zip. So if you're getting a bag for very cold winter use, my advice is do not get one with a full-length zip. That, I think, is a compromise. Even if there is enough down in it to keep you warm, the zip, air will get past. And even though there is a double baffle, when I designed it with a double baffle, but cool still got through. So, you know, you can't really blame the bag. You know, it was very cold, and after that I realised after that one trip that a full-length zip in freezing sub-zero, well below zero temperatures for comfort, you know, is a bit of a compromise. So this bag I will use still when it's very cold, but not when it's you know, absolutely freezing cold. So this bag I'm now going to put aside. So this brings me on to this bag. So the other bag also was extra wide, and again, going for extra wide, there's a little bit of a compromise there because you've got a lot of space to fill up or to get cool in there, that you're not taking up space. I'm sure you all understand what I'm talking about, even if I don't. So I didn't want a slim bag or anything like that, because I do get claustrophobic easily. So I sort of went back to the drawing board. Hello, Bess. And I thought, well, rather than extra wide, I'd go for wide. So I still had stacks of room in there. You could argue that it's probably still too wide, but I think it's for comfort is the best compromise for me. This time I designed it with 600 grams of down in it, which theoretically gives it a minus 21 rating. Although I think all those ratings you can take with a bit of a pinch of salt, quite frankly, because I found that I was comfortable at -5 in just a base layer, and as soon as it would start to go much below that temperature, I would start needing to add an extra layer anyway. But that's some of some of this stuff is trial and error. This bag I designed, if I can open the zip, with a short zip. Just here, double baffle, but a short zip. So that meant that everything down there is not going to get any air getting through at all. And when I say air was getting through, I don't mean there was a breeze or anything like that. It was a sensation of cool. That was all. That was it. Nothing more than that. So that's how I went for this bag here. And of course, you've got the hood, small hood, but it's adequate. And of course the neck baffles, which you can clip up there. And the neck baffle has a draw cord, an elastic draw cord, and you can do that up quite tight, and that will actually, you can put your neck will go in there, and then obviously your head comes out here, and your body obviously is in there, and that will go quite tightly around your neck, and that does pretty effectively cut out most drafts. So that did work very well, and again, because you can actually tie it or click it together here, that helps to keep this around your neck. So that's just a very brief rundown on the sleeping bags. I won't say any more on them because the video will just get ridiculously long. But when I do the packing side of the video, this is the one that I'll pack. Just very, very quickly, I wanted to thank Ron for asking me to go, and I just also very quickly just wanted to explain what I was mentioning about earlier on. You'll remember that the pack that I started to use, and is the pack that I bought, my very, very first Mountain Laurel Designs pack, was the Exodus FS, which has the rigid support on it. So that's the one that I started all these winter camps using, and I'll do another video on all the packs another time, so I'm not going to go into that now. That's the one I started to use, and at the time that this was happening, I sent an email to Ron and I mentioned that I wanted to buy the standard Exodus pack, and Ron emailed back and suggested that rather than me buying it, why don't we offset the cost of the pack against my travelling expenses to the TGO awards. So whilst I didn't actually pay for this pack, indirectly I did, because it was sort of partly covered by the travelling expenses. I probably was quids in a little bit on it, I will admit, but so that's how I got this pack here. So once this pack arrived, which I think was about February time or something like that, I then started to use this Exodus pack. So that's pack sorted out. As you'll know from my videos, I used 3 different shelters. Are they in the picture there? Yeah, almost. Let me just... Bess, you're dribbling... Oh, you're dribbling all over... Unless you've got a leak, and I don't think that's a leak. You're dribbling all over my stuff there, Bess. Right, I used 3 shelters. This is the Super Mid, and then I used the Trailstar, the Siln Island Trailstar, and on the last trip I used the Cuben Fibre Trailstar. They pack down the same, and don't forget from my other video you will know that this will pack down into this size. So even though it's in a bigger, this is for storage in this pack here, the Super Mid, nothing more, that will pack down into these sizes here. And again, you know, I'm just showing them simply because the last 3 camps, these are the 3 shelters that I've used, and I know some people have asked which one I prefer. Quite frankly, I like them all, and I'm glad I've bought them all, and you know, they'll last me for many years with if I look after them. And the small amount of camping I do, you know, they're going to last a heck of a long time. So I have no regrets in getting any of them. So that's the packs. And I know another question that people ask is, how do I decide which one to use? It really is eeny, meeny, miny, mo sometimes. You know, I just sort of, with most things that I do, I basically make it up as I go along. So, you know, I'll just decide what I'm going to take, you know, a couple of weeks before I go. Because as I explained before, I'm not a spontaneous person particularly. So I'll plan things out, you know, at least a couple of weeks beforehand, and then I'll decide at that time which shelter to take. Just very briefly, I use this small piece of multi-mat under these mats for the last trip, and that worked perfectly. And I also had, this was a full size piece, and I've cut it down into a short piece and a slightly longer piece, because being winter I wanted a guarantee of something, you know, under these mats. One, should they fail, and 2, in my spring and summer camps last year and autumn camps last year, I could feel cold air coming through from underneath. So, you know, I was bottoming out on some of these, not necessarily these here, but you know, some of my other mats I was bottoming out on. So that's another reason why I was taking these to put these underneath. So in winter, I think in winter you have to take one of these. I think it would be foolish, in my opinion, not to take something like that in winter, just as a guarantee should any of these air beds fail. And as I say, it gives you a little extra protection from bottoming out. And also, just very quickly, the other big advantage that I had with these is I was able to stand on them like that when I was rolling these up, putting the sleeping bag away, all that sort of stuff. And if I didn't have my shoes on, which I wouldn't have done because I would have been on the ground sheet, then it kept me off the freezing cold floor, ground, in this case carpet. So that was another massive advantage. Oh, Bess. Right, go back. Bess, go back. Oh, Bess. Bess. Now on these winter camps, I tried 3 different mats, and again, frankly, there's very little to call between them. I used the NeoAir Xtherm, and you know, there was a lot of chatter about it, including from me, about it being very crinkly and all that. And so I've slept on this one twice now, and I must admit I can't say that I noticed it at all. The first time I wasn't as comfortable on it, but I think that was because I didn't have my head covered properly, which I'll talk about in the next section on this video. So that, you know, that worked perfectly and is by far the lightest mat in this section that I used. This is the Xpad down mat, which is very, very comfortable, almost certainly more comfortable than that, and will certainly go down a lot colder than that. But and as I say, I found it very comfortable. Not much else to say about it really. You know, you've seen it. You know, it was a great mat, and I'll be using that again. That is for sure. And then lastly is this self-inflating Therm-A-Rest ProLite Plus mat. And again, I must admit, I found this very comfortable and warm as well. So, you know, this is another one of those eeny, meeny, miny, mo scenarios. You know, you just, you know, they were all fine. They were all comfortable. Obviously, these two are heavier than that. So, you know, it's entirely up to you which you want to go for. And again, with my small amount of use, yes, I know I don't really need all three. I've got all three, and that's, you know, I wanted to try them. And again, with my limited amount of use, hopefully they will last a very long time. So that's the mats sorted out. And so I would, from my limited amount of use on them, I would recommend any three of them. I don't think you'd be dissatisfied with any of them. And again, by putting this stuff or this underneath these, you know, you've got a very, very good winter mat there. You know, you're going to be more than happy with any of these, I think. So that's really as much as I can say with this section of the video. Oh, hello. You've just caught me reading the 35th anniversary issue of The Great Outdoors. And the world is small sometimes, because there's a review in here by Chris Townsend on sleeping mats. And he's reviewed two that I have here, that I mentioned yesterday. The Therm-A-Rest ProLite Plus and the Xpad Down Mat Ultralight 7. Both of those get a review, and he reviews the Therm-A-Rest NeoAir X-Lite. Of course, the one I have over here is the, oh hello, is the Xtherm. Hello Gizzy. Gizzy, why have we got a pot of tartare sauce here, Gizzy? Tartare sauce has got absolutely nothing to do with walking whatsoever. Let's put that over there. Oh, I don't know, these things, they pop in at the most odd times. Anyway, we better stop gassing and get on with this video. Oh, and everyone would be very pleased to know I'm not showing any legs off. What are you doing, Gizzy? Right, I just wanted to slip this in here. I showed the award that Ron won last year, and that's the page in the TGO magazine. I did get in touch with them just to check it was okay to show this, because I appreciate people's copyright, and there was no problem showing that. So I just wanted to put that in there. Well done, Ron, and once again, thank you. Anyway, that's enough promotional nonsense. Right, look, Gizzy! I don't think we want you doing proddles in my in my sleeping bag. Oh God! Right. Gizzy. Gizzy, you're going to disappear in that. Mind those paws. Right, so we're going to do a packing video now, Gizzy. So what we're going to do is, we'll do the sleeping bag first, because that's the biggest thing. Gizzy. for the sleeping bag, I took my jumper off because it was getting warm in here with the sun coming in the conservatory, but I might have to put it back on again in a minute. I've got two extra large stuff sacks, and one is slightly larger than the other, although they're both technically the same size. So again, I was just about to say some people, I'm not going to say some people, I like to use two bags. So my way or the highway, two bags. So I like to stuff it in there. And it's a pretty big sleeping bag, this one. It does take quite a bit of stuffing. Keeping an eye on Gizzy. Hang on a minute, it's going to stand up. Give that a jolly good squish down, and what I do is I just lower the outer bag a little bit, and then I stick my knee on. And it's surprising, you can do this inside the shelters. That gets a lot more air out. And roll it down pretty quickly, and do it up. So that's the sleeping bag wrapped up in the inner bag. A couple of things that I have used in the past. I've used the PhD down hat, and that was fine. That actually kept my head quite warm, or very warm, but even that came off the one time that I used it. And I have used the PhD down booties, but I didn't bring them on this last walk, so we're leaving them out. But after the sleeping bag, which I just put there for now, I then have another stuff sack, and in here, this is my Arc'teryx 100-weight fleece, and that's something that I have taken on. That's something I've taken on every trip. Would you keep away from my Cuben fibre? That's something I've taken on every single trip, and I must admit I've not yet needed to use, but I think for safety it's obviously best to take it. What do you want, Gizzy? And then I have a lightweight beanie, which I always pack in as well, either that or I'll carry it. Merino sorry, these aren't the possum, these are just merino gloves from Chopfish. Lightweight liner socks, smart wool liner socks. Lightweight North Face leggings. And my balaclava, which you've seen. So that's my nighttime clothing bag. And of course, you know, that covers me from head to foot, completely and is pretty light. So that's the next thing. So this is the NeoAir Xtherm, and I found if I fold it like this, which is in thirds, half and then in thirds, and if I put that in first, this is the frameless Exodus pack. That goes in there. Actually, it just needs to be a little bit shorter. So, not a lot in it. It's just got to get the length of it just right. So that goes in next. You then have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery with this, because when you put this in next, it does of course push the mat down a bit. So a little bit of grabbing hold of the mat and a little bit of shoving it in. Pull the mat back out. That goes in there. Just pull the mat just a fraction, maybe just a fraction more. That's it. And then straight away, I've got a back support system there. Now, of course, what I then do is I put my Exped pillow in, and I put that directly over the closure of the sleeping bag, so that if any water bypassed, which is highly unlikely, it would soak that before it got through to the sleeping bag. Next, I put my bag of clothes in. Then I put my bathroom bag in, and I just very, very quickly bring this over. Literally, it's just a tiny pot of Dr. Bonner's peppermint soap and a toothbrush, and then I've got a spare hanky in there and a tiny towel. So that goes in next. In this pouch I have my TechNet phone charger, and also a spare memory card for the phone, and a cable to connect this to the phone, and also headphones for the phone, which I must admit I seldom if ever use. And the next thing that goes in is my repair kit. There's so much stuff in there, I think I need to do that in another video, to be honest. Now, you could certainly argue that the repair kit should be kept out. I put it in there just for convenience and just to keep it, you know, absolutely, dry and safe. So more for convenience than anything. So those are the things that go inside this dry bag, which I roll up just twice because I want to have plenty of overlap. And I tuck that down the back like that. So there's, again, virtually no chance of anything getting in. The next thing that I have is my waste pack, and there's nothing in there at the moment, but normally I would have a spare empty bag in there for rubbish. And in here I have a small Ziploc bag with toilet paper and a couple of Elco wipes. And that I put in next. And that can get squished down there, it's out of the way. Next in would be my Bivi bag, which really is just an emergency item. I found that I don't need it. And then the next thing in is my OookWorks Groundsheet. And let's just see. So that sort of takes it something like that. So that takes up quite a lot of room like that. Of course, the sleeping bag takes up a lot of room. Next in would be my cooking pot, and so the cooking stuff with the pot. And then my food, and I'll just quickly, this is food obviously just for 2 days. These, you see those? Yeah, those I would carry for the day that I was walking. That is my, oops, trying to look at the screen so I can see. That's my breakfast. So I've got a breakfast bar and a Ziploc full of full of cereal, quite oats type things. I know obviously Ziploc bags aren't that environmentally friendly, but when I get back I always wash them out and reuse them. And I have another large Ziploc bag with 4 energy bars in, 2 potatoes, and I have 2, look what we found, meals in there. So obviously this is quite a heavy meal, but it's only for 1 night, so it's not really a major problem. And then I have my tea in there, which you've seen before. I do use artificial sweeteners. I'll probably put sugar in one day, but it's what I'm used to at home, so I keep that in there. And these I would put in an outside pocket for ease of access. That would go in there. Of course, remembering, all my walks so far are just, 1 night, and I'm back to the car pretty quickly the next day, certainly within 2.5 hours. So I don't need much food on the next day. The only other thing which would go in next, and I must admit I haven't brought it down, I forgot, would be my down jacket. That down pullover that you saw in the other video. That down jacket goes in here, gets rolled up, and then will go on the top there for ease of access. And then my first aid kit, and I'll do that in another video, goes in there as well. That gets done up, rolled up. Now I've probably left something out that I have to put back inside, but I think that's everything. Now I walk, obviously the pack's going to be on my back this side, and I like to use my right hand for the map. So that my map always goes in this pocket. Without exception, my map always goes in here, and then when this is on my back, it's quite easy just to stretch my hand back so I can access that map there easily. Compass goes in there. One thing I did do last time, I left the compass in there and I took the map out a couple of times, and I must admit it's just lucky that it didn't pull the compass out, which could have fallen on the ground. Normally I always tie it to something, but that was something that I didn't tie it to anything last time, so that was just something I thought of. In the front, of course, let's just go back here, make sure you can see. In the front, I put the shelter. All my shelters, without exception, all the shelters I put in this front pocket. This is the Cuben Trailstar, of course, but the Seal Nylon Trailstar went in there, the Super Mid went there. Every single shelter has gone in that pocket. What else do I put in there? I also put in, I always like to carry the bungs for the pacer bowls, so they fit in down there, right at the bottom. My 2 water pouches fit down in there. My tripod fits in there. I must admit, normally I've got a tiny bit more room to play with. I probably haven't quite packed something correctly there. Let's maybe put those over here. I've done something wrong somewhere, I'm sure. It never works out when you do it for the television. But that goes in there, all the way down there. This I put on the outside here. I don't put it on the same side as the tripod, because obviously I may want access to the tripod. So that goes there. And it doesn't matter if it's covering the water up, because you're not going to need that until the end anyway. On this side, for the winter, goes that. And that's obviously so I don't have to get up in the night. And in this side pocket here, I put my waterproof Event MLD mitts, so I can get to them immediately. If I do the top up, I like to have, I know it's a lightweight pack and all that, and you're adding weight by putting pockets on, but I must admit I do like to have pockets on all my packs. I'll just slacken that off a little. And then in the top, sunglasses. I'm a very sensitive person. My eyes are no different, so I always take sunglasses, even in the bleakest midwinter, just in case. A little bit of spare cord. Whether that's really enough, I don't know, but there's about 5 meters of cord there. An MSR Blizzard stake, and I must admit one of my pegs got stuck, and in digging it out I bent it, unfortunately. That goes in next. Head torch, the surgical gloves, and I put my pegs go up here as well. But my pegs up here, then my pegs are nowhere near the shelter, and nowhere near anything that could get punctured inside. That gets done up. This is my ditty bag, and in here I have hand gel, sun cream, and Aquamira, which is in three dispenser bottles. So you've got the A in that one, B in that one, and then I mix up in that one. And then when I need water, I have it straight away ready in there. Quick, easy, and secure. The instructions don't recommend this way, so you know, best follow the instructions. I don't, but obviously best you do follow the instructions. That goes in there, and then that goes in there with the mitts for instant access. And I always, even in the winter, I always carry 2 water bottles, because I do get dehydrated easily. As I say, winter is not so important, but the summer, vital. I did get dehydrated on Dartmoor many years ago, so 2 water bottles go in there. And that's it, 1 bag packed. And obviously the food in there adds weight. But the weight of that, as it's packed, is 6 kilograms. The only thing that's adding over and above the 6 kilograms is the tripod, because that's what I call base weight 2, and of course the food. Other than that, what you see there is 6 kilograms. And of course my camera, which I'm filming with, I put around my neck, and I think I call base weight 3 or 4 or something like that. You can call them whatever you like, of course, but that's how I do it. And then I can distinguish between camping stuff and, you know, photographic stuff and things like that. So that's my packing video, and then of course you can just cinch up all the straps once it's done. And on the first day I usually take a couple of rolls, bread rolls as well, and they fit in the top. In the winter they go in the top. In the summer I probably won't need the bottle, so I would probably put my rolls in that side there. So that's how I do my packing, and I hope that's of interest. And you know, if you've got any comments or questions or anything like that, you know, please feel free to ask, and I'm sure someone will be able to answer them for you. Until next time, thank you. Seem to have lost all the stuff today. Right, I'll just add this in. What I do after I've done my list and worked everything out, I send myself an email, and the email includes this, which is my Excel spreadsheet, which you see when you look at my kit list. And then of course I can go through this and I can check that I haven't forgotten anything. So that's how I check it, and this way I don't have to print anything out or anything like that. I could just check it straight on my phone like that. So right, well, I've got to put all this stuff away now. Packed it all up, put it all away. I won't quote what Clint Eastwood said in one of his films. Okay, bye.